Hello, everyone. Welcome to our post-game live show. Uh, in again my hotel room at the MGM Grand Garden. Sorry, the MGM Grand. I just came from the MGM Grand Garden Arena, where Rutgers fell 68-63 against Notre Dame, their third straight loss, and a result that puts them essentially in on Thursday. I don't know what the tiebreakers are going to be. Obviously, they need to play the rest of the games out today, but it's looking more and more like, especially considering Monday's result against Tennessee, that Rutgers will be playing on Thanksgiving, which means I will not be here. But before we get to that, we will get to the Notre Dame game. I encourage you all that are listening to throw in your questions into the chat. We have a couple already. Throw in your comments, throw in your thoughts. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. As always, very helpful. Let me know if the audio is good or bad. Otherwise, again, I can't really check until after this is recorded, which if I could make a change that could help you guys out, let me know. Because it is frustrating for me as it is for you guys when I finish the recording and I listen to the audio and it's bad. So let me know. Let me know how it is. But just let's get into the game. Rutgers starts off poorly. They fall into a 31-13 deficit with some really ugly numbers in those first 16 minutes. Really did not have much life offensively, struggled defensively. And it looked like we were headed towards another Tennessee-esque result, which would really be a bad thing coming off of, the Tennessee. It's one thing to lose to Tennessee when they're top 20. It's another thing to lose to a Notre Dame team that, in theory, you should be somewhat on par with, having beat them here last year. And they're certainly more talented. I don't think we can dispute that, between Burton, between their five-star freshmen, between Shrewsbury, between the guys that have come back. But still, Rutgers they're not that distant from Notre Dame that they could be down 18 points in the first 16 minutes. But credit to Rutgers, they fought back, finished the half on a 7-0 run, came out in halftime with a nice spurt, and all told, I think it was an 18-6 run on either ends of halftime. They brought themselves to single digits. They were within single digits for most of the final 18 minutes or so. They cut it to 4. They cut it to 4 a couple of times. They cut it to 5 in the last minute, but ultimately they couldn't hit enough shots, couldn't make their free throws, couldn't make that one or two key plays that turns a close loss into turning the result. Ultimately, they trailed for the last 35 minutes or something to that effect. And ultimately, it's a loss. Ultimately, Rutgers is 4-3, and I think that two things can be true. It is more encouraging to see what happened today versus what happened Monday. And the preseason expectations for this team, the reality of the lack of talent and where this team is at, there is something to be said for a close result like this, and for the ability to bounce back. Now, that being said, we're the 10th season under Steve Peichel, and no matter what the roster is, the roster should not be in a situation where you're taking moral victories for a 5-point loss to Notre Dame in Las Vegas. Again, not a great sign. Would have been a really, really important win if they got it. Again, encouraging that they came all the way back, but I think one of the bad signs, ironically, is how well they played as far as shooting, particularly. They were 11 of 27 on threes, and about 3 of those were last-second desperation shots. So they really were 11 of 24, 25-ish, which is by far, A, their best shooting clip of the year, and B, their best, their most high-volume three-point shooting game. Some of that is, I'm not sure if that was Notre Dame kind of forcing them to do so because they had such an advantage inside. And I mean, Rutgers just would not pass the ball inside. That's been the case for the most part against teams with smaller front courts. But now with Notre Dame having a mountain of a man who rebounds like crazy, there was just no way that Emmanuel Bole was getting the ball, Bryce George was getting the ball, Javonte Ware were getting the ball if it wasn't off of a offensive rebound and a putback, which Bryce George got. And Obole got the ball inside a couple times and immediately lost it. So that kind of forced Rutgers' chance to shoot threes. And look, JaMychal Davis pulled through 5 of 7 on threes. On the year, he's now 10 of 19, I want to say. Let me 100% get that correct. So I'm not inflating the numbers here. He entered today 5 of 12. He was 5 of 7. So yeah, he's 10 of 19 on the season. Is this an early season spark? Is he playing particularly well, shooting particularly well early in the season? I mean, he can't maintain this level the whole year. He's not going to shoot over 50% on threes the whole year. That would be insane. But if he can continue being a late 30s, early 40s 3-point shooter, I mean, that's a revelation for this team. This is the Michael Davis at the 90th percentile of what Rutgers could expect. A guy who has 3 assists, which is not a lot, but he only has 1 turnover, which came right at the end. Scores a lot, 21 points, hits 3 open shots. Didn't create a ton, but you're also not, that's just not his game. He's not going to. He's not a point guard that attacks the rim, scores, distributes. He's a guy that controls the pace, doesn't turn the ball over, which, as we learned for this Rutgers team, particularly in the first 60 minutes, is a major issue. Major issue. They turned the ball over way too much. They had 14 turnovers, and a lot of them were in the first half, where in the first 16 minutes they have 9 turnovers and 5 made shots. So that's a major concern for this team, and it's not the only one. But again, to go back to my point, when you shoot 11 of 27 on threes and you don't win the game, it feels like a missed opportunity in a spot like this, especially. Again, guys, let me know if you have any questions. If I keep rambling at some point, I will start going into players. But in the meantime, I would like to engage with you guys. Curious says Big E stinks. A bit harsh, but I guess I would say that he did not have a particularly good game today. I guess we could start off there for our player grades. Manuel Bulle, 0 points on 0 shots, 2 rebounds, 3 turnovers, 2 blocks. And I guess in the same category, he had 1 attempted block turned into a goaltend. Not his best game. And again, the lack of ability to provide on the offensive end is the issue here, where you just don't have a guy you can dump the ball into at center. Say what you will about Lathan Somerville, but he was a guy you can give the ball to. And yes, he's not going to pass it out, but more often than not, he's going to score the ball or at least put up a competitive shot. Rutgers just can't even get the ball inside. They can't trust their centers, any of them, to get the ball on the block and do something. It's essentially a lost possession if you try that. And that's, I mean, especially for a Steve Pikiell team, that's just like you're playing offense with a hand behind your back. I mean, you're essentially passing the ball around the perimeter the entire time because you don't have guards that can, penetrate with their dribble and create. And so again, you're fighting because more often than not, guys that do dribble into the paint pivot and pass the ball out or take a contested fadeaway jump shot for mid-range. So yes, I would agree that this was not Emmanuel's best performance. I'd probably give him a D. Again, 3 turnovers, no points as a center. It's pretty rough performance. Michael Davis, I'll give him an A. Hard to ask him to do more. 5 of 7 on threes, 7 of 12 from the floor, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, 1 turnover. I mean, if they won the game, it would have been because of his excellent second half. Again, a second half where he shot 5 of 9 from the floor, 4 of 6 on threes, had 16 points. I mean, that's about as good as you can expect from Michael Davis. Give him an A. Dylan Grant, I will also give him an A. Was the only offensive, contributor in the first half. Essentially, 11 points on 3 or 4 shooting. Hit his first 3 threes, which again was the only offense they generated in the first 10 minutes or so. Finished with 15 points on 5 of 8 shooting, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 block, 1 steal. It's an A. You got today an effort from your 2 best players in theory, on paper, I should say, and your 2 best returners. That's the kind of effort Rutgers needs from those guys night in and night out to have a chance. And for their part, they gave Rutgers a chance. We'll go Tariq Francis, 10 points, 2 of 7 shooting, 1 of 3 on threes, 5 of 5 on free throws, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 4 fouls, 1 turnover, 1 steal. Just again, and defensively he struggled. That doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but he got beat pretty bad off the dribble a couple of times. So he was unable to provide much scoring. He missed an opportunity late in the game to hit a 2-pointer when Rutgers is within 2 scores, and if you hits that shot, the momentum was on Rutgers' side. The bench was going nuts. The Rutgers fans that showed up were fired up for it, and they just weren't able to get that shot. That was one of the shots that would have helped Rutgers complete the comeback, and he was unable to do it. I'll give Tariq a C. Again, 10 points. He did hit his free throws, but struggled to score otherwise, and was not great defensively. I'll interrupt player grades now for a question from Rich. When does Steve's hot seat get warm? Is he the coach to take this team to the next level, or are we stuck with his contract? Rutgers is stuck with his contract. I feel like this is the part of the live post-game show where we get to the obligatory contract talk. Now, if things kept going the way they looked in the first half and Rutgers loses this game by 25 points like it did against Tennessee, that's a result that adds even more fuel to the fire. I think this is the kind of thing that Steve Peichel, there's a pretty low bar you have to exceed to not make this season an abject disaster where people's hands are forced and where people become so disgusted that they pony up to pay to get rid of the guy. I mean, it would have to be catastrophic, right? And I think losing by 25 to Tennessee is not that. Losing by 13 to Central Connecticut State is a very bad mark. But if you lose by 13 to Central Connecticut State, 25 to Tennessee, 25 to Notre Dame, and then you got Purdue and Michigan next week, then that's when things start stacking. The fact they were able to come back in this game, and again, they didn't win, but they kept themselves in the game and were competitive at the end, right? So, again, they cleared the low bar. When does Steve seek it warm? I guess when when his contract is digestible, I guess you would say, which would be at the earliest next year. But again, I understand the frustration because this team is not particularly good. But I would encourage you guys to just kind of accept that this team is what it is, and be pleasantly surprised if they are better, and just kind of understand where they are at if they don't. Matt Z asks, well, how does seeding work and any idea who we play for the third game? I cannot explain it to you because it's too complex, but essentially the bottom 4 teams will play consolation games on Thursday. That distinction is all that really matters because Rutgers, barring, shocking results, are going to be a bottom 4 team. So that means they'll play Thursday. They'll play one of the other bottom 4 teams, which in theory could be UNLV, and 2 other poor teams. San Diego State is a prime candidate after they got blown out by Michigan yesterday. But I guess barring a shocking set of results or a change of events, Rutgers will play Thursday, and I don't know who they will play, but they will play, I'm sure, in front of a pretty empty arena on Thanksgiving, and I would not be there. I'm leaving Wednesday night. I'm sure you guys care greatly about my travel plans, but I would not be there. We'll go Dennis Battleout, 5 points, 2 of 6, 1 of 4 on threes, 1 turnover, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Just not enough offensively. Struggled defensively. Him and Zerno, which we'll get to later, just kind of sometimes feel like they don't know where they should be defensively. It's a tall task. He's playing, forward for some of these stretches without Dylan Grant on the court, and he's defending bigs, which is just not fair to him, right? He doesn't have the size to defend a big, so some of the mismatch issues are not his fault. I'll give him a C. Need to see more from him for Rutgers to really have a chance. Bryce Storch, 4 points, 2 of 5 shooting, 2 rebounds, 1 steal. Good effort at the end of the first half to get the steal and get eventually JaMychal Davis got the putback for the bucket there for 2 points at the end of the half. That is something that Steve Peichel really appreciated. He was running down the court at the end of the half to congratulate Bryce and JaMychal for the effort, and I think he wants to see that from this team. And I think that's a good sign from this team that they're fighting, that they are putting in effort, and they're making plays like that, because Rutgers cannot beat teams straight up. They're not good enough to beat teams straight up. So you got to junk it up, just like they have the full court press later in the second half, just like you do, forcing steals, getting points in transition. Those are the kinds of points you need to win a game like that. And to see the team to see Bryce Dortch and JaMychal Davis specifically doing that when the game could have really gotten out of hand in the first half, I think that's something that Steve Peichel will hang his hat on and try to build off of. And I know we talked about the effort the last couple of games. I thought the effort today was fine, particularly in the second half. So Bryce Dortch, I will give him a B. The stats aren't great, but he got a putback. He got that big play at the end of the first half. And he adds some stability to center after a rough start to the game from Emmanuel Bole. And Javonte Ware only played 4 minutes. A couple of games now, he's only played in the first half and just hasn't really provided much. He's a true freshman. It's hard to ask for more from him, but it just feels like Steve Peichel is really mixing and matching and trying to find any combination that works. Maybe he found something in the second half, but I'm just not sure any of these true freshmen are at a level where they can contribute. Like Caden Powers, for example, I'm not going to give him a grade because he played 4 minutes. Same with Javonte Ware, but he had 0 points on 0 of 1 shooting, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and a turnover. That was Lino Marks. He had 0 points on 0 of 3 shooting, missed all 3 threes he took, and had 1 turnover in 4 minutes. That's just not. That's not a competitive effort. That's not helping. That actively hurts the team when you're taking and missing bad shots and you're turning it over. Lino Mark, 8 minutes, 0 points on 0 of 1 shooting, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. Again, 8 minutes stint. I'll give him a C, I guess. Didn't particularly hurt the team, but it didn't particularly help. It just doesn't feel like any of these freshmen, outside of flashes from Mark and Woolley, are at a point where they're ready to contribute. Though I do think it's good that Steve Peichel is putting them on the floor and giving them a shot to prove themselves or unprove themselves. And look, the season, if we're being honest, is essentially over as far as any postseason aspirations. So it's good to kind of you do now work your way through your rotations, work your way to see what you have, put them in situations where the game is still in hand, it still matters, and see what they can do so that you know kind of more about your team entering Big Ten play. Darren Buchanan, 3 points on 1 of 3 shooting, 1 of 4 on free throws, and 1 turnover. Again, I just don't. There was flashes of him attacking the rim, which is pretty much the only thing he can do offensively. But again, I just don't. I'm not seeing enough from him. I'm not seeing enough from him. I'll give him a C. And Haroon Zerno, 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting, all on threes, 2 assists, 1 rebound, 2 turnovers. Again, sometimes it seems like he doesn't know where to be. There's a turnover from JaMychal Davis, I think, where he cuts when the ball's coming to him on the perimeter. I don't know if that's on him, if that's on the play, if it's on JaMychal. I don't know who it is. I would think it's the player who cut at the wrong time's fault. Just it feels like he's still learning his way through, defensively struggling to battle physically. Rutgers got decent input from him yesterday morning, I should say. But it was at a point where the game was kind of over. Rutgers needs more from Haroon Zerno. So I'll give him a C. That's it for player grades. I'm kind of rambling now. Unless you guys have other questions. Did I hit big last night? No, my gambling has been kind of a up and down roller coaster. I haven't lost much. I haven't won much. I'm kind of I'm a little down, but I'm not down particularly bad. Been kept busy covering this team and football with the Jet Elad stuff. We're trying to figure out what's happening there. So thank you for asking, though. And for those wondering, I did have Kraft steak last night. It was good. Great recommendation from Steve Politi. I went there with him last year when we were here. I had a nice filet last night, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I don't know what I'm doing tonight, but I'm sure you guys don't particularly care about that. All right, that's pretty much all I had. I'm gonna go and post Steve Pikiell's press conference on the channel. I might post Micah Shrewsbury's press conference for those who want to watch. I'm going to post conversation I had with Ace Bailey, very brief one courtside, and you guys might have seen it on TV, and post some more stuff and kind of go from there. But thanks for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate it. I don't know if I'm going to do a live show if they play on Thanksgiving. I got to be honest with you. This might be the one day a year I actually spend time with my family and not not leave them for Rutgers basketball. So we'll see. But if I don't talk then, I will see you guys after the Penn State game. And for those that want preview content of that, check out our interview with Ryan Hart and our podcast this morning. Really enjoyed the conversation with Ryan Hart. He was great. Again, like the show, subscribe to the channel, like this episode, like every video. Just go up and down the channel, like every video. We would appreciate it. And until next time, guys, thanks so much. Talk to you soon.